Yo, 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 it is so good to see you. If you're new to this channel, my name is Richard. I am a fourth year here at UCLA, and I'm also an entrepreneur. And today's going to be a little bit of a new kind of video. I am going to be sharing with you the story of actually how I became Christian at the age of 18. This has been a video that many of you have been asking for, and I gave a presentation, a little talk at a club that I'm a part of, a club called Toastmasters. It's a club dedicated to helping me as well as other members improve in their public speaking and leadership. And I just want to share with you a recording from what exactly went down when I gave a little story of how I became Christian at the age of 18. The one thing that I ask is that regardless of what faith you are, that you would just be respectful, that you would be open-minded, and that you would just gladly receive. And I hope that you enjoy this video. Boy, this is going to be my best shot at being vulnerable and talking about something that is very near and dear to my heart. So let's jump right into this one. Man, heart's racing right now. So I want you to close your eyes right now, and I want you to think about the best food that you've ever tasted. Imagine how good it feels. Open your eyes. Now think about it. If you're hanging out with your friends at a nice restaurant, let's say it's your favorite restaurant, and you go through and you order this really awesome dish, and your friends have so-so dishes, and you take a bite of your food, and you already know, that's good. What's the natural instinctive response? You're gonna say, hey buddy, try some of this. Dude, come on, you gotta get a bite of this. Right? That's the natural response. Because that's how much you want other people to experience this good piece of joy that you've experienced in your own life. I'd say that's a form of kindness, and that's a form of love. Now I want to take a 100-degree turn and talk about the other side of the spectrum in which you could experience love to someone, express love to someone. Let's say that you're on a hike, and on this hike you are approaching a very dangerous cliff, and you see a friend who's not really paying attention. Maybe he's taking photos and he's just having a good time, and he's not paying close attention to the cliff and the fact that he's edging to the ledge of the cliff. And when he gets just a couple steps away, you're going to say, hey, watch out! Because you realize if he doesn't stop what he's doing and he doesn't pay attention, he's going to fall and he's going to die. And I'd like to even make the argument that even if you didn't know who that person was, it could be a random person that you've never even met before, you'd still go, hey, you're going to fall off, right? And that's a form of kindness. That's a form of love. I want to talk about a time in which I almost died, in the form of love that saved my life, that I now truly believe that I'm using to save others. When I was 17 years old, I was in a new relationship, my first girlfriend ever. And it was a great relationship. But for some reason, and I still can't explain why, perhaps it was pride, insecurities, or a culmination of all of it, I became extremely insecure within that relationship, and that led to a lot of jealousy. And jealousy led to a lot of arguments. And arguments led to a lot of emotional abuse. Emotional abuse not on her end, but on my end. People talk all the time about being victims of emotional abuse, about how someone treated them poorly. And for the first time in my life, as a 17-year-old, a senior in high school, I realized that I was the one delivering this emotional, verbal abuse to someone. I was hurting someone day in and day out without actually finding a way to stop that. And at the same time, the relationship had so many emotions, and I would genuinely say there was love involved. And so when she cut off the relationship 2 weeks before UCLA started, I was launched into a very deep and dark depression, in which I was actually borderline suicidal on multiple occasions. I just felt like I had done so much pain and I had caused so much hurt in just one person's relationship, in one person's life. How much more could I cause if I continued to go on this path when I was just 17 years old? And I had grown up going to church, but I had never really understood what church meant to me. My parents are Christian, but they always gave me the freedom to want to allow me to internalize what faith meant to me. And up until the age of 17, I never got it. I always just thought, isn't religion just a set of rules? A set of dogmatic principles that you have to follow so that eventually you can go to this perhaps make-believe God and so you can come to heaven and not go to hell? And that was always my perception. It's a set of rules on the outside, a behavioral modification that could eventually help you earn something. And so when I came to college, I really had nothing to lose. I thought, I've done this whole faith thing, quote unquote faith thing for my whole life. And I've never really understood it, and I've never really had this relationship with God that so many other Christians are talking about. So you know what, let me try this thing out. And so I went to a church for the first time, really intentionally trying to learn as an 18-year-old, as a freshman in college. And I went to another time, and I went deep. I started to discover, okay, why exactly is it that Christians believe in what they believe in? Who is this Jesus guy? Why do people always say, Jesus loves you, Jesus loves you, Jesus loves you? And Jesus is King Kanye. And it started to occur to me that actually Christianity was less of a religion, it was more of a relationship. It was less of dogmatic principles, it was more of, there's this God that loves us so much that he sends his son to die for us. He actually dies for us, historically recorded. And because of that, we receive grace. Now, here are the ramifications of that. What that means, and this is so important, so pay close attention here, is no matter what it is that you've done in your life, no matter how much pain you've caused upon yourself or others, nothing can take away from the love that this Creator has for you. And for the first time in my life, I was able to accept that openly, where I realized, wow, it is true that I'm so broken, and I did so many wrong things in my own life, and I hurt this one gal so bad when I was 17 years old. But now, I get to openly receive this grace that I do not deserve, and that was when a relationship was formed with my Creator, and I decided finally at the age of 18, I'm going to accept Christ into my life. And that was how love saved my life. A couple months later, I got my emergency medical technician certification, and I start working on an ambulance in Los Angeles, in the lowest income area of the entire city. Inglewood, Compton, Hawthorne, gunshot wounds, stabbings, drug overdoses, domestic violence and abuse. That's the everyday there. And I'm responding to 6, 7, 8 911 calls every single day with people close to being dead. And there was this one experience that I had with this one kid. His name was Daniel. 90 degrees Fahrenheit, extremely hot July day. A kid is crossing the street in a residential area right by a school where the sign says the speed limit is 25 miles an hour. And a car is screaming around the corner at 60 miles an hour and hits him smack on the side as he's crossing the street with his bike. The handlebars turn inwards, carve up an entire 6-inch laceration all the way from his belly button up to his nipple line. His shin bone is completely severed on his right leg. His kneecap is so wide open, you could see his full kneecap popping out. Bleeding every single second, dripping. I was first on scene. And when I came to this individual and started to bandage the wounds and start applying pressure to the wounds so that we could start loading up onto the ambulance, and his family starts to accumulate on the side of the road, and he's screaming, "Mom! Mom, what's going on? Mom, I need my mom!" And he has no idea what he's doing, and he has no idea if he has a future. And we get him to the hospital, and he survives. I can't help but just think, why is it that he almost dies and has this traumatic experience where he's going to be mentally damaged for the rest of his life because of this? And I get to have a second chance. And I get to have this kind of grace. And at that moment, I realized 3 things. And these three things are inevitably true regardless of what you believe. And that's, life is short. Number 2, death is certain. Number 3, eternity is a freaking long time. And with those 3 truths, and with the love that I had experienced, and the first time that I used my hands, my love, to save someone else's life, I started to realize this sense of urgency in which I need to share my faith with someone else. I once heard from an atheist, the following words: "I have no respect for a Christian who will not share with me his or her faith. Because that person has to hate me so much that he believes that there is a God that loves me and wants to forgive me and wants to have a relationship with me. And he will not share that with me, and he knows what's going to happen of my eternity on the other side of death, and he won't share that with me. I have no respect for that person." And as I'm wiping the back of that ambulance, and there's blood everywhere, And there's so much blood, the blood had coagulated. There was the difference between the red blood and the plasma was coagulating and accumulating. And I was wiping down all these bandages and pieces of matter from this one child, Daniel. And I'm cleaning up this ambulance. I just can't help but think, I need to share this stuff. I need to tell people what I've experienced, the love that I have experienced. And so since the age of 18 leading up until now, I've committed the rest of my life, regardless of what it is that I do, whether I become an entrepreneur, a speaker, an employee, I've committed the rest of my life that in any kind of relationship, in any kind of speaking engagement, in any kind of friendship that I may have, I will always share what it is that I truly believe to be true in a society that is so PC and where everyone says, your truth is your truth and my truth is my truth. I believe in one truth. And I will not stop sharing that. Mr. Toastmaster. Hey, so what did you think about that video? Let me know if you enjoyed it. I give those talks once every 2 weeks. And if you want to see more, definitely let me know in the comments below. And if you want to find out more about high performance, UCLA life, personal development, faith, entrepreneurship, and any of that, I have a Facebook group dedicated specifically for you. I put out awesome content in there to serve you, so that link's also going to be in the description below. Lastly, this is the first time I made a video like this, very casual, low editing. It doesn't take a lot of time for me to make these videos, and I want to just see if you do enjoy the quality of these, because if so, I can definitely put out more frequently these kinds of videos. So I'll see you on Sunday. Until next time, stay sharp, stay focused, and go crush it.